After spending a week in Honolulu for the Polynesian Bowl practices and then Saturday's game, we got a good long look at several prospects in the game. In its third year as a game, the Polynesian Bowl is quickly becoming one of the premier games in the country. The high-caliber players, the week-long celebration culminating in the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame inductions and ceremony, and finally, the game in Aloha Stadium on a nationally televised stage has given the Polynesian Bowl major momentum as it embarks on its fourth cycle, with what is already building a stellar 2020 Polynesian Bowl roster. But before we start thinking too far down the road, here are some final thoughts from the third Polynesian Bowl. Top overall prospects from the week: offense, Trey Sanders, Alabama, the No. 1 running back in the industry, generated 247 sports composite. Sanders was outstanding all week. Some guys cruise in all-star games, Sanders didn't. From the beginning of the week through the game, Sanders showed why he's the top back in the country. Defense, the one Black committed to Florida after missing his senior season and then the All-American Bowl. Black was unleashed in Hawaii and he shined the entire time. He's an incredible athlete, he's physical, he's energetic, and he played every single play like it meant something in practice or in games, and personality-wise, he was the most entertaining to watch all week. Power 5 program with the most to be excited about. Washington had the most players in the game, with 2 of the 3 leading tacklers for Team Maka Husky signees, Alfonso Tuputaa and Laiatulatu, while the leading tackler has the Huskies on his very short list, Daniel Haimuli, and kicker Timothy Horn was perfect in the game, 2 field goals, 3/3 on pat, and should factor into the Husky kicker situation immediately. Group of 5 program with the most to be excited about. Hawaii has some in-state talent staying home to play for Nick Rolovich in the game, and the week of practice showed off some of that incoming talent the Warriors have, plus throw in a couple other players who are looking seriously at Hawaii, and Rolovich's continued recruiting improvement with the Warriors could pay huge dividends. Offensive Player of the Week: W.R. Puka Nacua, USC. Even before the MVP effort in the game, Nacua was stellar all week, just like he was in San Antonio 2 weeks before. The co-player of the year for the Polynesian Football High School Award, Nacua flashed all week and it culminated in the game. He's a USC commit, but Washington, UCLA and Utah are all trying to work him. Defensive Player of the Week: DL Chris Bogle, committed to Alabama. Bogle is a quiet kid off the field, but put the pads and helmet on and he's a monster. He would line up at defensive end and outside linebacker, rush the passer, drop into coverage, and do it all well. While he's committed to Alabama, Florida and Miami are still trying like crazy with him. Big Men of the Week: Offensive Line, E.J. Ndoma Ogar, Oklahoma. The 4-star lineman was the alpha dog on the first day of practice and was the best offensive lineman from the beginning of the week on. Like Bray Walker the year before, Oklahoma had the best offensive lineman in the game. Defensive Line, Siaki Ika, LSU. Ika was a top performer just about every day and was the best defensive lineman in Honolulu. For as big as Ika is, he moves so well and he brings great energy and strength to the position. He was also one of his team's leaders and you could see other players gravitating towards him. Surprise of the Week: Lincoln Victor, uncommitted. Victor is one of the most dynamic players in the West but has been criminally under-recruited. He was solid all week in practice, then earned the starting nod at slot for Team Maka, scoring a touchdown in his native Hawaii. He moved to Washington from there when he was a kid. Hawaii is hosting him next weekend for an official visit and would love to return him to Aloha Stadium. Tamatoa Faladia, uncommitted. Faladia is the top-rated receiver in Hawaii for the 2019 class, but the recruiting attention hasn't quite been there. But he was good all week and also added a touchdown in the game, scoring his for Team Aka. Princeton hosted Faladia for a visit, but his recruitment should open up more in the next couple weeks. Injured player we missed seeing in game: Henry To'oto'o, uncommitted. To'oto'o was the one of the 2 defensive players named as a finalist for the Polynesian High School Football Player of the Year award, but a foot fracture he suffered in the SIF State Open Division title game in December had him in a boot and kept him out. Of the game, Locals of the Week Kalana Makala, uncommitted. The Punahou prospect was outstanding all week, earning top performers honors twice and then doing so again in the game, when he had an interception and a pass breakup, which was pretty much how he looked all week, showing great ball skills and closing speed. Maris Lufau, Notre Dame, another Punahou product. Lufau made a major case to move up in the rankings after a strong week in practice and a big game, which included an interception in the end zone. The Notre Dame signee has continued his strong senior year with a great performance all week in his backyard. Blue Collar Award, worked in every practice, multiple positions, etc. Marcel Brooks, LSU. Brooks didn't get in until Tuesday night, so he missed the first day of practice, but he made up for lost time by working in at a number of positions: linebacker, cornerback, receiver, defensive end, you name it. Brooks showed great pass rushing skill in the bowl, and during the week, he showed his athleticism and versatility, plus his competitiveness, by trying to take reps at just about every position. Game MVP's defense, Puka Nacua, committed to USC. The four-star receiver wowed spectators, reeling in an impressive 29-yard touchdown that was initially ruled out of bounds but was corrected upon review. Nacua extended for the ball and showed great body control to come down with the reception while tapping his toes just inside the white marker. It was the top play of the night. He also displayed his play-making ability on a couple other receptions, showing exactly what he can do after the catch and what has made him so productive at the high school level. Washington is set to draw an official visit next weekend, and the likes of Oregon, UCLA and Utah remain in the mix heading into National Signing Day next month. Defense, Daniel Haimule, uncommitted. One of the top uncommitted players in the country, Haimule was all over the field, clogged the middle on run plays and showed off his aggressiveness throughout. He had 3.5 tackles for a loss, including a sack, and displayed his immense potential as a linebacker that can do everything and do it well, earning defensive MVP honors. The four-star has visits lined up with Washington and Alabama the next 2 weekends, and is still considering Oregon, UCLA and Utah. Mountain Island recruiting analyst Blair Angulo contributed to this notebook.